Is it a case of stolen valor, and does anyone care? He's Rob Hunter. I'm Mike Russell. This is Russell and Hunter. Thanks for hanging out. It is a tough thing when you get onto the national stage for the first time. You get up there and you finally made it. You've worked your whole way up, all the way up to the top, the tippity top Girl Scout of electoral politics, and you are the party's nomination for vice president. And then what happens? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just trip over that skeleton? Oh, wait a second. Did I just trip over that skeleton? I thought I got rid of that. This is showing the Governor Walz'n thing is showing the DNC's ineptitude, showing the DNC's ineptitude, that they wouldn't think that any of this would be, or they didn't scrub the hell out of this guy's entire history. I mean, I remember when Joe Burrow, a quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, he when he was in college, LSU, right? He played LSU. No, which one did he play for?
I think he played at LSU.
It was at LSU. Yeah, okay. Well, which one did the kid play for with the long hair that's playing for the Jaguars?
Oh, I don't. Lord Farquaad. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? I don't even remember his name.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Lawrence. No, Lawrence.
Yes,
Trevor.
Yes. Trevor.
Yes. Joe Burrow did play at LSU.
Highest paid quarterback in the league, by the way. Trevor
Lawrence. Who's that? Burrow?
Trevor Lawrence. Anyway, so I'm sorry, side of Joe Flacco, which has scammed the entire system his entire career. God love him.
Clemson. Trevor Lawrence, Clemson.
Okay, thank you. Anywho, so when Joe Burrow was the golden child, they scrubbed, the NCAA and the NFL scrubbed his social media to take out all the racist crap that the guy said. I mean, they just got rid of it. They're like, you can't find it. Good luck. 1984 style. Nope, he didn't say that. Nope, never had that thought in his life. Never said that word, never ever used it once. Why in the hell did something as powerful as the Clinton, Obama, DNC, they have the entire intelligence apparatus behind them, not go, we're going to get rid of the speeches where this clown claimed that he was in war when he was not in war, and even worse, days before they deployed, he quit. The dude turned tail on all his dudes. And he's still claiming, I will carry this weapon in war. Come on. You have people on MSNBC now saying, I don't even think J.D. Vance served his country. He actually served in war as a Marine. So it just shows how inept that entire apparatus is at this point, and what a sleazeball this Walz cat is.
So the Democrats have a pattern of this, because there's a Democrat named Richard Blumenthal, who's a senator from Connecticut. He was the attorney general. This guy has repeatedly lied about his Vietnam service. Everybody knows he lied about his Vietnam service, but the voters of Connecticut don't care enough to remove him out of office. That, to me, is that issue, Mike. I wish these things mattered. I wish that the American people collectively had character, and we held people accountable for lying about something as serious as going to war. That, I don't know. I just want there to be this big wake-up call. I just don't see that it comes. And they just keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing things like this, promoting people that are full of crap, and they get up to this vice presidential running mate status, and that's that. And maybe become the vice president of the United States.
Unfortunately, really unfortunately, it might take 4 years of a Harris-Walz administration to actually show the American people, okay, come on, are we done now? Because I don't like paying $8 a gallon for gas.
Enough of a wake-up call.
What's that?
You think Biden would be enough of a wake-up call?
Thank you. I know, but Biden's actually seen as I would say Biden's seen as kind of a fluke, and the propaganda machine has done such a banging job of actually propping this guy up like he actually did something in his 4 years, and he didn't. He did the opposite of success for this nation, and he believes, as evidenced by getting on Air Force One a couple of nights ago, where asked what his legacy was, he said that he saved the economy. He believes that in his heart of hearts. The entire nation does not believe that. And I keep getting a little more energized and a little more fired up every time I see people now, instead of even saying Harris-Walz, it's still Biden-Harris. This is the Biden-Harris economy. This is the Biden-Harris job market. Here's the Biden-Harris everything. I'm getting a little more jazzed, especially when I see people that don't look like Rob and I are the ones that are spouting it to a pretty solid following.
Well, and you think about who has been impacted by inflation the most. people that have, well, I mean, what used to be considered a good income. If you're $100,000 now, it's not $100,000 from 4 years ago. That was the big bellwether mark, right? Making six figures. Well, now in the city of Phoenix, if you make six figures, you're getting by.
Getting by.
You know, you're not doing amazing because you're spending so much money. So you think about if you make 50,000 a year, make 35,000 a year, what's happening to you? And Mike, we used to talk about this on KFYI all the time. Is that's who I think about when I fill up my gas tank, especially when it's $5 a gallon. I'm like, man, I'm making pretty good money at that point, filling up my gas tank, going, dang, this still hurts. I can't imagine if I went back in time in my first forays into radio when I was making $17,000 a year. Let's up that. Maybe it's $25,000 now, 20 years ago. How are people making $25,000 a year, starting their careers, getting by? We had Gina yesterday tell us that her 34-year-old daughter is moving back in with her because she can't afford to live on her own at 34 years old. I mean, that's the reality of this. The crazy part, many of those people will vote Democrat.
Yeah, it was the blue no matter who. Is that their chant? Vote blue. Yeah, vote blue no matter who.
Definitely a team. Definitely
Joe Biden's lowest per gallon year was his first year, and it was at $3.10 a gallon. The second year was at $4.06. In his third year was $3.47.
Putin's price hike.
Exactly. Yeah. And Donald Trump stayed within, I think, 30 cents at $2.53 down to $2.26. Yeah. So that's where people and you know me, I'm at a 35-gallon tank, and I don't even try to fill up. I don't drive nearly as much as I used to, but if I don't have $1 off at Fry's Fuel, I wait. I mean, it's that bad. So, I mean, it's, saving $35 every time I fill up a tank. If I just grocery shop correctly. And if anybody needs gift cards, just holler at me. All right.
Yeah. You got to think about it, though. You've got to plan ahead, and you got to take advantage of all the things. Like currently at my house, we're putting in a new air conditioner unit. Those things didn't get cheaper during the COVID years. Inflation is hitting that. So it's like, awesome. Cool. Thanks. We faced a $4,200 repair on our current unit or get a new one. There's no sense in putting $4,200, which is an inflated price to fix an 11-year-old unit. It's like a car, right? So, okay, you got to spend more money, get the new unit. It's this constant crunch that should matter, especially if you're nominating people who just lie about serious things like going to war.
Yeah.
But again, it's the vice president, the running mate. So does it matter? Does it make an impact? Does it go beyond a 2-day news cycle where everybody's talking about it today, but next week it won't matter anymore because the shot's already been taken? And that's, I think, part of that challenge, Mike. Glenn Greenwald, a journalist who was fantastic, liberal guy, but started to see the light about what's happening in America. He lives in Brazil. He pointed out on Twitter today just that. He's the Trump story of him getting shot at, almost assassinated by a 20-year-old kid is not a story anymore.
No.
The media doesn't want to cover it. They don't want to investigate anything. We did our hearings. We've completely moved on from a guy who came that close to killing the Republican nominee for president of the United States, a guy who already was the president. And we're just kind of like, cool. Just another day in the neighborhood. Where's Mr. Rogers at?
And gas prices go back to, and I won't go through the whole story, is Cass Sunstein's book, Nudge. This was Obama's regulatory czar, and he was a lunatic. But he should win a damn Nobel Prize for this idea and concept that he at least put into book form. And so Jose said he used to live in a border town, and people would drive to Mexico just to gas up, for the love of God.
Why not? Take advantage of it.
It makes sense. You think Costco lines are inconvenient? Dear God, you have to drive to another country to fuel up. Anyway, the book Nudge was basically the McDonald's close, right? It was like, remember back in the old days, would you like a hot apple pie with that? Would you like to supersize that for an extra $1? And everybody said yes, because you've already made a buying decision. You're already in and made that purchase. That's why grocery store aisles are packed with all those little candies and tchotchkes, because you're already buying mood. You just grab it and throw it in there. Gas prices have been the same thing. Oh, they're okay with $2 a gallon gas. Remember when we thought $2 gallon gas was just the end of it all? Are you kidding me? And then everything, that's when the first little inflation bump came up and everybody was claiming prices had to go up because of fuel. Prices had to go up because of our fuel costs. Those prices never came down, but never did fuel. And we would beg to go back to the $2 gallon gas right now. But because we are now okay with the concept of $3 gas, like, I guess it is what it is, no big deal. Instead of, damn it, grab your torches and pitchforks and let's go do something different, because these punk asses took us from energy independence to completely reliant on other nations' energy and drained our strategic reserves.
And again, it comes down to that big question. Do people care enough? I don't know. I have been an optimistic guy about America my entire life until now. It just seems to me it is easier to just put the problems on the shelf and avoid them, which doesn't solve them. It only makes the problems and the challenges worse, because it is very strange, Mike, because it doesn't seem to resonate as much as you think it would. If I know that I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm looking at cost increases of about 30% since Biden's come in office, not even 4 years yet. I need 30% more money to buy the same stuff I did 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And people just apathetic about it. Like, oh, well, I'll just go out to eat less. Because now you're starting to see that. You're starting to see McDonald's even talk about earnings, because you go to McDonald's, it's $20 just for you if you get a drink and a fry or whatever. So people are cutting back. So McDonald's introduces the $5 meal again because they have to. But you're seeing retailers, all these struggles. This is the thing that could tip it Trump's way. If we go into a full-blown recession, which I talked to a business owner yesterday, says we're in one.
100%. We've been in one.
Well, but officially, again, by data numbers, we have it because it's artificially inflated, and because we don't, in general, have enough economic know-how, because it's not taught in schools. Wonder why? Because you'd figure it out and you'd get annoyed. So this is, again, a protective racket of information. So if the government, state, local, federal, fund education, they're in charge of education, but they leave out massive portions of how a country works, then you don't think about it. You don't know about it. You don't know how the economy works. You just know that prices are up. Okay, Trump's mean. I'm still going to vote Democrat. Because maybe you don't connect dots that it's these policies that have led to the price increases. The fact that during COVID, for example, all the shutdowns, all the forces, all those things, all those decisions made by the people that Americans will vote for again, those decisions that you voted for, America, are the ones that harm you the most. You think we'd have a logical sense to go, yeah, we don't like this. We don't like this. Going back to your pitchforks, Mike, is that, I don't know, maybe they've just zapped the fight out of us because they've outlasted us, the politicians in the political game, slowly wearing us down over the years.
But you know me, we the people optimist. Two great things happened that I think are showing us, and I need to see their replacements. Like, I need to figure out who ousted them, because they might be worse, and God forbid they might be worse. But at least we can celebrate one thing, that America, that we the people, that voters actually saw an asshat like Jamal Bowman and a complete lunatic like Cori Bush, and sent them packing in the primary, not even the general. You are gone. And let's just hope that that is a little seed of, okay, crazy's one thing, but damn, those two rang the bell on crazy. Did you hear her speech last night when she knew she lost?
I did not.
It was essentially like, oh, now you've done it. Now you've done it. I'm going to burn this place down.
She's going to go after AIPAC, which is a pro-Israel organization which funded her primary opponent, like AIPAC funded Jamal Bowman's opponent. Why? Because the Democrats have become anti-Israel, at least the very progressive wing. So, yeah, AIPAC's going to spend that money. I don't know, Mike. Again, I because there's a Democrat primary, here's my challenge.
There was one, believe it or not. I know that not on the presidential side, but there was one.
But now we're going to miss the crazy, because you had Cori Bush, who is way out there in progressive land, aggressive language.
I'm in a box of rocks.
And Jamal Bowman, same way, right? Progressive language, big socialist guy. now that their voices aren't there, the Democrats look a little less crazy, which is exactly what the Democrats want. So I don't know that it's a big victory that Cori Bush goes away.
Didn't say
Ultimately,
big victory.
in the long term.
Just say it might be a seed that is shown. Maybe there's a seed where people are like, okay, great. Well, okay. She is a painfully unintelligent human. She just doesn't understand. I've seen interview after interview. She does not even understand how her system of governance works. Maybe that's just whether you're pro-Israel, pro-Palestine, whatever you are. You saw that and you're like, that ain't for St. Louis. That isn't for us. I'm getting the spoiled comments on here, guys, and from Brendan and Rhonda. And look, here's the deal. You're damn right we're spoiled because we're Americans. This is the greatest nation on the planet, the greatest group of people there is. And we spoil ourselves. We really do. We do, even in tough times. We're like, you know what? I'm still going to spoil myself. I mean, like, guys, during COVID, do you think everybody squirreled that money away that they were getting from the government cheddar? I was down in Lake Pleasant when my daughter was getting her dive certification. I saw more brand new boats, brand new trailers, jet skis, new camping setups, rigs, trailers. I was like, holy mackerel. Americans will spoil ourselves. And I don't really care what another country thinks about me spoiling myself because I'm an American. I won the genetic lottery. I'm good. I'm in it right now. I'm worried, but I'm still in it. Am I still treating myself to that tomahawk every time I go to the butcher street? Damn right I am. Yeah, I am. Am I going to Costco tomorrow? Yeah, I'm going to Costco tomorrow. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's our way of life. And if other countries can live, there's sour grapes. That's what I say.
Well, but I think you're onto something. That's why we don't change, because we don't have to. Usually we as individuals, human beings, we don't change until a major life event forces us to change. We make a major mistake. We do something wrong. Our marriage is on the rocks. And we know that if we continue this pattern of behavior, maybe the marriage will go away. Maybe you lose your house. Then you change. But it goes back to this. I said this before. 7 people go to the doctor. Dr. Mike Russell, you're going to see 7 patients. And Dr. Mike Russell is going to tell all 7 of those patients that if you do not change your behavior, you will die soon.
No, if you don't change your doctor, you're going to die soon. Doctor,
I mean, that would be obviously smart, number one.
Yeah.
But of those 7 people told by their doctors are going to die if they do nothing, only one of them will actually change their behavior because death seems so far away. And the pain and discomfort you're going through now, not enough to change you. America in 1776. So we always like to look back at our history and we think, America, we rebelled against the British. Most Americans did nothing to do with that, wanted nothing to do with that because of what you just said, Mike. In 1776, America, you're far away from the motherland. The king is watching over you, but not really. So you're just sitting there chilling, living your good life. You don't want to go to war. You're like, I don't want to go to war. My life is good. So most people in America in 1776 didn't want that change. But the change had to come and did come. And then everybody was like, all right, that was a pretty good idea. Because usually it's till too late when people change. And I think if you look at ancient Rome, a lot of comparisons, America to ancient Rome collapsed, probably see the same things, is that we're just not pre-programmed to change on our own. We only change when disaster strikes. And I think that this is this point in America where now is a good time to change, because the longer we put it off, the harder it gets. And then the harder it gets to actually sustain a country because you've sapped its economic might. To go back.
It. Yeah. But I get it, but I'm just talking about a seed. That's all I was talking about. I didn't say there was a giant upswell because Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman were bounced. I just said that if there's a seed of, okay, we kind of get this now. We're kind of done with that kind of crazy. And by the way, the other countries that are jealous of us, they sure as hell love our tax dollars, don't they? They sure love our foreign aid. Yeah, they hate us until they get their hand out. They have no idea that a good part of their entire system is because of the United States of America. Might change their tune a bit, but you know what I'm.
But it gets back to that same point that Jim is bringing up, is that change is very difficult. It is difficult for us as individuals to change on our own, let alone an entire country made up of 350 million individuals. So many people would rather just say, the hell with it. I don't care about the prices. I don't like the other side. So therefore, I'm willing to pay more so long as the other side doesn't get into office. Like, that's how crazy that American politics has become, so tribal, so religious, that logic and fact and reason very rarely come into play anymore in national political debates.
Well, again, because we've gone from, since we've instituted the Department of Education, we've gone from number 1 in the world to number, I believe, 24. By the way, speaking of Governor Walz, he's watched his state go from top tier to lower middle tier under his stupidity, putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. He's a moron. But
hey, they're free though.
What's that?
They're free and they're plentiful.
Free to who, champ? They ain't free. Again, you keep using that word free, Democrats. I don't think it means what you think it means. But but just the absurdity of Jamal Bowman, even that got bounced. He was like, Walz, yeah, let's hear for public education, public education, public education. What has public education done but get us jacked? And here's the deal. This is exactly what public education done. Taught us to like people like Jamal Bowman. Taught us to buy into crap like AOC, Kamala Harris, whatever, VP candidate Walz. It got us to buy into that crap is exactly what it did. And it's good luck. Good luck.
Well, the crazier part about this is the more I zoom out and what I don't look at is parties sometimes. I just look at how things work. And I've used the Catholic Church as an example because back in the day when the priest could read and literacy was not a thing, you had to go to the priest to get information. Our public schools are essentially that. It's information and knowledge that is shared with students. Mm-hmm. But who's in control of the information and the knowledge the students learn? Because what we learned in school, if you're 40 and above, maybe 35 and above, is different from what Mike's kids are learning. And if you guys have kids, I think, Rhonda, you just mentioned that your son is 26. He might be on that end where he learned different things about America. The information and knowledge he got about this country is almost the polar opposite than what we got. Going back to Mike's point about Jamal Bowman, where someone like Bowman can parrot the education that is offered in public schools across this country, and it sounds like he's in sync with his dislike of America, like most schools are now teaching, it seems like.
Yeah, it is, once again, they'll never teach you enough to overthrow them. So
exactly. Information's power, as they say, right?
It's just how it is. But kind of staying along just the absurdity and asinine nature of this entire thing. Let's just stick to California because socialist programs and stupid programs and green programs are the call of the day and year over in California. Apparently, there was a story, Rob, that they banned plastic bags. I do remember when they did this. And, I guess they found out that it wasn't exactly the right thing to do?
No, it's worse for the environment because a couple things happened. Number one, you didn't have those little plastic bags that float in the sky that Katy Perry talked about in one of her lame songs. But instead, you got the ones that you get now. Like, you ever feel like a plastic bag floating through the sky? I think that's the name of the song. It's called Firework or something like that.
Was that a reference to American, what was that story called? What was that movie called where that dumb dude was videoing the bag? It's the most beautiful thing.
American Beauty.
American Beauty. Thank
American
you.
Beauty, yeah.
American Beauty, yeah.
Yeah. So the bag flying through the sky, they wanted to stop that. People, oh my God. So I said, okay, cool. No more plastic bags. However, you can buy the thicker plastic bags in the store for 99 cents. You know, those ones you can get, I don't know, they're reusable.
No.
What happened in California is people didn't reuse them. They threw those away. Those bags are thicker plastic and are worse for the environment than the skinny, thin plastic bags. So California's law in trying to protect California's environment made it worse because this is always what happens when you try to regulate the environment. So we're like, all right, we don't like this plastic bag. Here's another plastic bag that's thicker, that doesn't biodegrade at all, that if it's ended up in a landfill is going to stay there till the year 1 million.
So many stories come to mind. First of all, if you go into Fry's, and I shop at Fry's because God bless you, Fry's. God bless you, Kroger, for your fuel point system. You have saved my ass. Here's the deal. You go in there, you get those little flimsy plastic bags. Have you ever done the pickup where you order ahead and they bring it out to your car? Those bags are like luggage. Those are gangsta. I have a whole thing full of these things. I packed for my trip in those things. Those things are thick and amazing. I absolutely love them. And then I feel I'm going green because, look, I'm reusing it. I didn't throw it away. I'm reusing it. See, I'm green as they come. Where's my tax break? So those bags are, of course, just as bad for the environment. If you actually throw those into your recycle bin, that is why Phoenix, one of the reasons why Phoenix stopped the recycle system was because people kept throwing those bags. Those bags gum up the entire machine. You have to halt production, and you have to basically get somebody to go in there and wedge this big giant bag out of there that somebody threw away thinking it was plastic. It's got to go in the recycle. So you can't throw those in there. So this one of the reasons. Goes, oh yeah, we get the recycle program. Don't even get me started on our recycle program, but I will continue. Starbucks, get rid of straws, ban straws. Straws got to go. So microplastics in the ocean, ban straws, ban straws. That actual study came from a 9th grader that called, I think, 100 people and asked them how many straws they use in a week, and then extrapolated that out to 330 million people. And we have this big straw problem that's getting into the ocean and killing things. Starbucks was the first to jump on board and said, we are not going to put straws in there. Not put straw, no more straws. By the way, I have probably y'all know I'm addicted to Starbucks cold brew. I could probably take my hands like this around the straws I have just sitting in my truck. They keep giving me straws. And on top of that, they made a new lid. So it got rid of straws. So you didn't need straws with the new lid. And the new lid has more plastic in it than the straws do. There's no way around this. We can't, as humans, fathom the perfection and awesomeness of Mother Earth and exactly how Mother Earth regulates and takes care of boneheads like us, 8 billion of us strong, that come along and are trying to trash the place. She got this. We can't think of a way around it, or we just use government money to, make it look like we are.
Well, and look, that's the reality of the world, right? We've become more convenient. We live differently than we did 100,000 years ago. Things need to come in packages. Most of those packages are made with plastic. Plastic is made from oil. It's base product, right? So even if you get rid of gas and gasoline cars, there's thousands and thousands of products that are made with plastic. Everything from those bags that we were just talking about to helmets, motorcycles, anything. Almost everything now is made in plastic. So this is my real big challenge for America, is these arguments and debates that we have with very little knowledge. Plastic bags being a perfect example. So it becomes this big to-do. California wants to lead the way. Politicians want to look like heroes. They all have hero complexes. So they create this story about plastic bags. And they seize that story of plastic bags. And they say, we in California, we politicians are going to save your state. But they made it worse. And this is going back to what you said at the beginning, Mike. And this is why I just don't believe America's waking up. I believe we're going to sleep further, because every time you see this, it could be COVID. It could be the COVID vaccine. It could be the COVID policies. It could be Dr. Anthony Fauci. It could be gas prices. It could be Biden's just incapability of running the country and figuring difficult things out. It could be these plastic bags. It could be the ice age that was coming, according to Time magazine, in 1970. It could be acid rain that was supposed to kill us all in 1980. All of it has been wrong. Not one of it's been right. Yet we don't, if you just Google that shit, there's a website called Google That Shit, by the way.
I got you.
You'll find.
My favorite is Let Me Google That For You.
Yeah,
that is my favorite. God, I love it.
That's a good one. Like, hey, what is the answer to this? Let me Google that for you.
No, and the link you send them back, the link answer you send it back goes to a Google-looking page, and it shows it typing itself into the Google search bar and then gives the answer.
Exactly. It's brilliant.
So brilliant.
But I think that is the challenge. Google's a perfect example, because Google now controls 90% of internet searches. 90%. So what do we all do when we have a question? We go to Google, we ask Google, we want Google to give us the answer. So there's almost too much information and too much things that are happening to really pay attention to issues in depth. Trump assassination story is a perfect example. Tim Walz retiring right before his unit in the National Guard got deployed. These are stories that last days, not weeks, not months. There's no investigative reporters working behind the scenes to find whistleblowers in the Secret Service to find out what really happened that day in Butler, Pennsylvania.
The assassination and the Tim Walz stolen valor will come up, at least it will hit the news cycle. It has one more run through the news cycle after the debate. I guarantee you it'll have one more run. So it's not just dead. It's not dead as it stands now. because it just popped in. So it's got a couple more days left in it and then it'll go away. I agree with that. But it does have a little bit more pop. And if the advertising sticks on that, depending on how well it plays in the debate, that's probably what's going to happen. Back to plastic, though. Do y'all know what happens with plastic bottles? When you guys recycle plastic bottles, when you put them in your recycle bin, they pull those out. They pull those out in sorting. Now, those plastic bottles go to Mexico and India. I'm not kidding. They're placed in giant piles and set on fire. Infinitely worse for the environment than just throwing it into some landfill in Buckeye. I mean, it's absolutely absurd that everything we've done. My girlfriend, when she first had kids, she said she did cloth diapers because, she would, save the environment. We're going to do this. Do cloth diapers. She had cloth diapers for about a month until she realized, A, what a pain in the ass it was. And then B, we're in Arizona. You know how much water I'm using every single day? So to go green in one side, you're actually pulling from green or making it worse on the other side. It's like the damn wind farms, and it's just absolutely absurd. Well, all of it is.
And there's too many things to care about now. And that's the other part of this, especially if you're a younger person. We've talked about this too. We have a friend, Malcolm, who has joined us on the Brewman's podcast. And we always encourage you to listen to Malcolm because Malcolm, he's just an awesome, awesome human being. And we often talk about race with him. But aside from that, he's 31 years old. I was talking to him. He was out here recently. And I said, Malcolm, what do you want to do? Like, he's a DJ, he's a performer. He's just, again, he's fantastic. He's like, I want to throw a massive monoculture event.
Yeah.
And it's because young people segment themselves into 97 different categories. They have apps to follow along which companies you can buy from, which companies spend money in Israel. Yeah. So you can do your little boycott, even though you don't have any money, and your boycott's not effective. But you guys keep fighting the fight and keep categorizing yourself out of relevancy.
Boycott where I'm not going to spend mom and dad's money at. Okay. I'm going to boycott that.
Exactly.
Can't have that. I take care of, but I got mom and dad on a budget.
See?
Yeah, exactly. Make sure I'm not supporting that stuff.
And that'll back you up, Mike, because Mike actually got in trouble. The city of Phoenix called our old radio station, not KFY, the last one, because Mike wrote an article about recycling and how there isn't any recycling.
Yep, not happening. And I know that because a buddy of mine, for a brief time, went to some mucky-to-muck position at Waste Management, and he goes, "No, here are the numbers, dude. These are the real numbers. Here's how much actually gets recycled. Here's how much ends in it goes in plastic. Look, I'm going to tick some people off. Fine if the Waste Management people are mad at me, but making it if there's no zero footprint. What do they call it?
Yeah.
Zero whatever event. Sorry."
No, you buy credits. You plant trees.
From what you see, yep. No, don't see the bottles. Don't see the plastic bottles going to India and Mexico. We were in Mexico last time we were in Mexico, and I asked the dude. I was trying to set up a little like sunset cruisy thing for the crew, and I was asking the boat captain. I was like, "What the hell is on fire?" He goes, "Oh, that's landfill." He goes, "That's where we burn everything that's sent down here. We just burn it." And I mean, it looked like a massive fire, like it is going on right now in our great state here. But I mean, it looked like a massive fire. And he's like, "Yeah, they do it about once every 2 or 3 months."
Sure, that's healthy. Sure, that's good.
We don't see it though. We don't see it. We took all of that and we put it somewhere else that wasn't in a landfill. So yes, zero imprint or whatever.
Oh, and isn't this kind of the truth? That going back to this, too much to care about. I'm an environmentalist. I don't like Israel. I am multicultural. I support LGBTQ plus rights. I am woke. I bought all the books about being woke. I am, to quote Kamala, the wokest, but I still don't know anything. Like, I think, woker, wokest, whatever that thing was yesterday. It is very difficult to process all of this information with our brains. It's very difficult to take in everything that we take in now with all the content that we see, all the headlines that we see, all the videos that we see, all the ads that we see. Very surface level on just about everything. Because if you watch like John Stossel, he works for Fox. He's been a longtime journalist, libertarian leaning. He goes in depth about all kinds of different things. And when you peel back the layers of onion, you realize 90% of what you hear is just surface level BS. Yeah. It's not true. It's a marketing slogan. It's just do it from Nike. It's cool. I'm going to just go buy Nike products because they have a cool slogan. That's how we work. That's how our brains work. That's how we've always worked. And that's how we're always manipulated by powerful people and structures who have the knowledge, hide the knowledge, come up with a marketing slogan. It tips you in your psychological buttons, and then you vote for them. Oh, they're solving the problems.
When did you in school? Let's go back to our system of education here in the United States. Where in school do you remember? I think it's very, very important. First, by the way, do you remember the first lesson you got when you got to kindergarten? What's the first lesson? How to get in line. How to line up. How to follow the person in front of you, which is being led by the person of authority. I'm not doing this whole, damn the system kind of thing. It just kind of that one kind of stands out. But when do you remember during an election cycle in your school, like a student council and all that? When do you remember any one of your teachers saying, okay, yeah, I get it. She was the prom queen. I totally understand that. And she's running for president. I get that. But this person that's going to be the valedictorian, wouldn't you guys want student council to kind of be run by one of these? Maybe, no. Do you ever have any person of authority try to guide you in that manner? No. Because that's what they have is all character. It all comes down to, we even say it, that person should run for president, but really doesn't have that it factor. You know what I mean? Doesn't have that I was the quarterback of the football team kind of vibe. Doesn't have that Joe America look. Just doesn't really fit the bill. But we've fallen into, we vote for one that we look as kind of popular and kind of cool, and there we are. Thanks, public education system. We don't even elect the most qualified candidate to do this or that.
Well, part of it is our own makeup as humans, because we like things easy. Hence why we have a two-party system. You only have to choose two. You don't have to worry about three. You don't have to worry about four. Heaven forbid you have that ranked choice voting system where you get to vote on multiple candidates. Oh, my goodness. We just don't want to think about it. Like, for example, CD8. This is the Debbie Lesko district that she's retiring from to go run for the Board of Supervisors. Yeah. Abe Hamada, Blake Masters, Trent Franks, Ben Toma, all big names in Arizona politics. Abe Hamada ended up winning, but
Abe Hamada beat Trent Franks?
Oh, Trent Franks came in third. Wouldn't even close.
I love that, man.
25,000 votes basically is what
I couldn't vote. I couldn't vote. No.
So, I bring that up because you look at the campaign signs, and CD8 is right down the street from me. I live in CD1 in Arizona. CD8, Blake Masters, pro-Trump, pro-Trump, pro-Trump. He tried to just go all in. I love Trump. I'm Trump's guy. Vote for me. Because he wants to make it simple so people don't have to think about it. However, Trump had, in a weird case, he endorsed Abe Hamada early, and then like a week to go, he endorsed Blake Masters too. I'm like, what? What?
Well, wasn't it Abe that pulled the BS where he took a loan or something? He took a loan from his brother so he had enough money, because the Trump campaign was like, look, we will endorse you. Trump will endorse you, but you have to be a viable candidate. You have to have like 350 grand for a congressional race. You have to have like 350 grand in the coffers. I don't remember the exact number, but it was big. And Abe had $350,211.43. And he sent his little, income statement into the Trump campaign. They said, okay, we're going to go ahead and endorse him. Then the next month he had $80,000 in his campaign. Like, well, what the hell happened? Come to find out, he went and got a $250,000 loan from his brother so he could get the Trump endorsement. And now that guy won on a Trump endorsement. It makes me want to go knock him in the beak. I don't want him to win. Who's he running against? God dog it. I'm not voting for a damn Democrat over there.
No, I don't know that if there is, there's someone's going to lose. I mean, Abe Hamada is going to be the congressman because it's a Republican district.
Awesome. Yay. Hooray.
And he probably will be
bozo on top of bozo up to places.
Until he decides he doesn't want to be a congressman anymore. He can be a congressman because that's typically the way that it works. And, maybe he'll do a good job, but he's just going to be a vote, right? Of a Trump vote, a Republican vote. And, especially as a freshman congressman, that's what you do. So, again, I wish that we could think about things in a more complex fashion, because I want to add one more element to this, not just education, but even media. Because media's job is to, at least to some degree, educate people. Here's what's going on. Here are the issues. Here's the reality of those issues. But the media doesn't investigate the realities of those issues because the media is just grabbing headlines from Twitter, seeing what's get reposted, and they're just reporting on that. They're not doing any investigating. I don't know if you saw this morning, Axios, the website, laying off 50 people because no one wants the news. Like, we are all under this impression everybody wanted to watch the news, and we all watched the news back in the day, but there was nothing else to watch. Now we have phones. We have a million channels. We don't have to watch the news. Nobody actually wanted to watch the news. Certainly nobody wants to pay for the news.
Oh, no, there's a paywall. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even put on a show rundown. I'm like, nope. Do you want to read this? Nope. I sure don't want to read that article. I'm going to go find that information somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And it's probably disinformation anyway. Speaking of disinformation, UK has proven exactly why the hell we fought a war to get away from these knuckleheads. Holy cow. UK is en fuego. And Elon Musk is right in the crosshairs of this awful situation is going on out there, where they are now arresting people for posting or retweeting or reposting or rebranding what they deem as threatening information, actually calling out what they're seeing with their own two eyes, posting videos of what they see with their own two eyes. They're being arrested. I saw a group of kids that said, "Stop Christian murder," or "Stop Christian abuse," or something like that. That was the bus, what they said on their bus. The entire busload was arrested and hauled in just for having a bus with something on the side. This makes me so happy we won that damn war. I can't even tell you. But Rob will back me on this. That I said during the legalizing of marijuana stretch across, like at the early inception, Colorado was the first to jump on board. And I was excited that they jumped on board first, and we didn't. California did, and they totally dropped the ball, which goes to my point. We can watch California and Colorado as a case study on what goes right and what goes wrong, and how we can do it right if we do it here in Arizona. You see, the UK is that example right now. If we keep the ways of what we're doing, especially when it comes to these migrants that we're just allowing in here and keeping the border open, I don't see it too far of a stretch to say, you know what, we're at least in some of these major cities, we're probably going to see the same thing, and it's coming quick.
Yeah, and this is, again, I don't think we generally have a grasp on, after we vote, paying attention. Because for most people, if you don't watch the news or pay attention to the news, you don't see migrants. If you go down to the border in Arizona, you'll see them. If you go to Texas, you'll see them. If you live in New York City, you might see them if you're in certain places. But if you're just going about your business, it's not part of your life. It's not part of your reality because you don't see it.
Well, even my ex-in-laws, they only watch CBS, but they watch it 3 times a day. They knew nothing of the border crisis. Sorry, Rob, I wanted to prove.
No, I mean, that's a perfectly illustrated point, and they actually watch the news.
Yeah,
most people don't watch the news, as we've discussed. Maybe collectively 20 million people watch the news in America on a daily basis. That includes cable news. So, even if you see it a lot, if you're on Twitter and all you see is border content, like you saw 6 border stories in a row, that doesn't mean that 300 other million Americans saw those stories or are aware of the problem or aware or care that it's a problem. Because some people are like, I don't care. It's not impacting me, so I don't care. But then again, some people don't care that their prices have gone through the roof either.
Well, Janet Yellen doesn't care that her prices have gone through the roof because I don't look at the price tags. The problem is a visual one. I mean, we do mostly keep our heads down. And I heard a story. A friend of mine, I'm sorry, it's actually my girlfriend. They actually, her daughter's new principal at the high school. They have a bucket or a basket at each classroom. The kids have to put their cell phones in. They have to put their cell phones in a basket when they come in. There's no more. They said that they're tired of looking at the top of kids' heads when they're just looking down at their phones like this. They're not learning anything, and they don't really. Public education doesn't care about kids learning anything, but it is absolutely removed your reality. It's like that video you brought, Rob, with the people on the train looking at their phone and the burning cities out behind them. But we do that though. I don't even know if cell phones could be to blame, because you look at Tornado Alley. A small town in so-and-so was leveled today and 4,000 people are without homes. We look up, we're like, oh, dude, that sucks. Did you take out the chicken for dinner? And we're just on to it. 50,000 migrants crossed the border this very day. Like, oh, damn. That sucks. Woo! Didn't see any on my way to work and back today, so I guess we're good. That's it. Until the proverbial feces hits the fan, like it's doing in UK, like it's doing in Germany.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, oh crap, this is a big damn deal. And when you realize that the thousands of dollars per migrant just for SNAP alone that these people are getting, then the cell phones, then the healthcare, this will all come to roost sooner than later. And again, if we have 4 more years of a Harris-Walz administration, it's definitely coming sooner than later because nothing will be done about it.
And then it might be too late.
True. That's what I'm saying.
This is my big worry is apathy. Is, oh, well, the system sucks. I'll just ride it out and deal with it. Because again, I don't think there's going to be a massive collapse or crash or America's done for. I just think America's going to get to this point of barely any growth, not a ton of opportunities. You're going to have to scratch and claw twice as hard to quote unquote make it. And that's how America will be. But what the world needs is America to innovate, to create different paths for prosperity across the board, because that is what has led the world, our innovation. And again, that mostly doesn't come out of government. In the space program, government engineers came up with some interesting things, Velcro being one of them. They had to problem solve.
Pyrex.
Yeah, they came up with some cool stuff. But 98% of the time, the innovation is not done in government. And that was in the 60s, for crying out loud. I don't know what government has innovated since the 60s.
And that's the problem, because that innovation, like my man Elon Musk said, is that basically every major project you want to do now is illegal. It's like you cannot tiptoe all of the red tape. You cannot get around it and have a successful project the way you initiated, the way your scientists, your engineers, your developers, your researchers drew it up, because somebody in government's either going to have their hand out and you're going to bleed your money, or you just can't get past the red tape, EPA regulations, and that type of thing. So the innovation, the innovation we're being told is, hey, this the new green economy. All those people, the 10,000 people who lost their job on the Keystone XL pipeline. Oh, no, they're going to get green jobs. Look at, they're going to get we're going to put them to work, building windmills and all that. No, not a damn one of them. Not a damn one of them. I mean, maybe the couple of them got a job selling solar. They're installing solar panels, but that's their green new economy. And those economies are dictated by the power structure, and those not just, Rob and I are going to start a widget economy. We're just two at this point. We're kind of the little men on the totem pole.
Well, when you think about how much energy really is needed in the American economy, it is the economic engine that we have, because we live in convenience where I don't have to make my own phone. I don't even have to. I could get it shipped to my house. I can go on apple.com. I can go on amazon.com. I could go on whatever my cell phone service provider is, and I can order an iPhone. It can be delivered to my house, or I can go get it. I had nothing to do with assembling it, shipping it, designing it, all those things. But it takes energy to do all those things. So if energy is more expensive to make an iPhone, the iPhone becomes more expensive. You'll buy less iPhones. You might last another year or two before you buy another one, because now it is the price of a laptop. $1,200 for a phone. You're like, all right, cool. But in 2 years, it might be $1,300 because of the quote unquote green energy that's saving the planet, the same way the California plastic bag ban saved the planet. And if you're just joining us now, California banned plastic bags several years ago, and the environmental impacts now are worse because the bags that are being used are thicker, and they're being thrown out just like the old plastic bags were. They just don't float to the sky like they do.
But the new bags, you could sail a F-150 with the new Fry's bags, the ones they give you for delivery. Those things are built like tanks. It's like probably the thickness of like 6-7 of those little tiny bags put together. Those things are amazing. Yes, and like I said, I'll pack anything in those things.
There's Chris. Wow. How the hell did we the people allow this to happen? I think that's exactly what we're talking about, Mike, is multiple reasons. Public education being one, the internet being two, because there's so much information, you can't keep track of it all. And the quickness of the internet also tends to work against the idea of gathering a ton of information and researching a lot because you can just scroll, read new thing, read new thing, read new thing, read new thing. What is that thing the kids say, Mike? TT, too long didn't read, TLDR?
Yeah, too long didn't read, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, but that's I mean, we was talking about it on one of our other shows the other day. It's like, okay, this headline is pretty rad. This headline's like, oh my gosh. And then this first paragraph's like, okay, yeah. You dig down to like paragraph 7, 8, you're like, oh, okay. Okay. There's reality. Okay, now we get the other side of the story. And that's not the way the press works anymore. It's not the way what do we call it? It's no longer the print section of the media. It's, I guess we'll still call that, even though it's on a website. The print model works. It's headline first paragraph, and that's it. Salacious as you can. Everybody's going to take it like there's an entire. I can think of 2 shows here in the Valley, that radio shows that just read the headline and just do entire 8-minute, 10-minute segments on them without getting the details. So it's kind of the way media is gone, and that's kind of how we're easily swayed.
But is it the way media's gone or the way people have gone? Because media exists to find people, because media, at the end of the day, is an economy. And you got to keep your people in your ecosystem or your economy changes. So I really do think that this all comes down to human behavior now that we have unlimited options. So back in the day, human behavior was somewhat controlled. 3 news channels, then you add in CNN. Then you add in Fox, then you add in MSNBC, and you have 6 news channels along with talk radio. So you have some options to dig a little bit deeper into news stories. Then the internet comes along, and it's as if there's no depth. I mean, there's depth on the internet. You can find it, but it just doesn't seem to be read nearly as much as maybe it should, because it seems to me that we're voting and making these decisions with not a real ton of actual information, which means we're making emotional decisions, which means we make bad decisions. Because when you make emotional decisions, you're not making your smart, calculated decisions about what's best in the long term. You're thinking about what's best now. And usually when you think about what's best now, what can I avoid now?
No, usually what's best now for me, at least, is what I like and what's the shiniest. And then I realize it's probably not going to work out, but I don't care. I'll deal with that when it doesn't work out. But right now I'm happy. That's all that matters.
But I mean, and that's natural, right? And I think that for me, the way I look at this is, how many of us can shift gears and say, all right, I can't worry about tomorrow. I got to worry about 10 years from now. So I have to make my voting decisions on all races, not based on tomorrow, but based on 10 years. Because if you think about prosperity and you think about a potential tax cut expiring in 2025, if Republicans don't sweep all parts of government, you're going to have that.
They got to get 2 or 3. I mean, they got 2.
No, but they won't be able to pass the tax cuts with the Democrat Senate. I don't believe they'll be able to extend the tax cuts if Democrats.
Okay, so let's actually flesh that out. So let's say they have the House, don't have the Senate, and they have the White House. You need all 3 of those to even renew or define something new. So if you can't find something new, that's the law of the land until you find something new. They can kick the can down the road. That's what I'm trying to say. So you don't have to sweep it to keep the tax cuts that are going in.
No, they expire. They actually expire next year.
And we have no tax code.
No. It's just the 2017 tax cut expires. It defaults back to the tax code that was prior to 2017. They always do that. They put a sunset clause in tax cuts for some reason. I don't know why. Schweikert explained to us once. I can't remember the reason. So that's why it's very important, right, to think that if a country's making emotional decisions, are we going to make an emotional decision that's going to screw ourselves in our economy because we're not thinking, we're reacting?
Well, we've done that with wokeness. We've done that with the Green Deal. The Green Deal is all about fear and do what's right, be a better person, do what's
When
right for the
really it's about
planet,
money.
leave it leave it bigger, leave it better for the next generation. The LGBTQ thing is no, we're not allowed to say that my kid has gender dysmorphia and my kid has some mental issues and we need to work through this. And I don't have my kid taken away from me. It's all led with emotion and garbage instead of, you know what, we know what's right before our eyes. I don't see why we're so blind to it. Again, that's why I have an unwavering faith in we the people as the masses. I think that if we stay strong, we keep our eyes open. I think I think a lot of this is being exposed from at least what I'm seeing in some media and some polls off of RCP when it gets into the race, the skin color races. People are waking up. I think some communities are waking up to, this just isn't right. This didn't go well. We tried this for several years. It didn't go well. Let's fix it. Let's get something else.
And I agree with that, but I also think there are other shifts as well that are being contended with because there's no doubt party makeups are changing. The Republican Party under Trump looks way different than the Republican Party as voters under Bush. The voters who voted for Bush mostly vote Democrat now, or at least that demographic of well-to-do, pretty good income, dual income households, college educated women are the big issue in this election.
And who was voting then? Who voted for Trump then?
Well, what
obviously, if you take all the affluent families out, and then you have all the Gen Zers and stuff that are voting for Biden, who the hell voted for Trump?
So Trump got votes from non-college educated males.
75 million of them?
Well, it was way more than that. That was just one constituency.
Okay.
So he did get some women vote. In fact, Trump won white women, like 50, I think it was 52 to 48, 55, 45, somewhere in there. That is the shift the Democrats want. They want to flip that 45 to 55 because they know Trump's making inroads with Hispanic men and black men.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats are trying to counterbalance that. So what used to be the Bush Republican Party, those dual income households making 200 grand a year voted for Bush. They, over the last 20 years, maybe not fully have become Democrats, but a higher percentage of those college educated people moved away from Trump while Trump welcomed in more of a populist wave, which used to be the Democrats' territory. The injustice crowd, the not quite making it crowd. So for Trump, it was, think about Ohio, Rust Belt, Pennsylvania, men that have seen their careers change. Usually they voted Democrat in the past. Unions, factories. Well, those factories are gone. Unions are not protecting the workers, so they gravitated over to Trump. Meanwhile, those higher income earners went over to the Democrat side, in part because of their college education and what they learned while they were
it's the arc, dude. I wouldn't put much of it at all on the college education. I do understand the indoctrination, but you got to understand they're babies when they're coming out of college. So the life they actually get real lessons in the world when they leave college. So again, this is my thing. So my kids, they're like, "Oh, Dad, you and your guns and stuff like that." And I'm like, "You hunt with me. What are you talking about?" "I know, but you might not need that many." They start getting their indoctrination, and then they get jobs, and they said, "Excuse me, what the hell happened here? Where did all my money go? I thought I was making this much an hour, and I worked this many hours. Where the hell is all my money?" Okay, that's because of overtaxing, spending on nonsense. And then they see, "Hey, Dad, what did they say they just spent on that war? Oh, we just gave Ukraine another $60 billion. By the way, I can't wait to see if this comes out. If Mitch and what's his name, Senate Majority Leader
Schumer,
thank you, are on the take from Zelensky. Oh my gosh, that would be glorious. I would love that. Anyway, so they see that they're spending $60 billion. I'm like, yeah, son, that's where that money goes from your taxes. It goes over there. And he's like, "Oh, wait a second." So then there's a more conservative lean in the arc. And then you're making money, trying to make it. You want to keep as much as your money. You want to start your own business. There's that conservative. Then, like friends I just been most recently become very close with, Republican, made a bunch of money, about to retire. And now all of a sudden it's, these Democrats, I believe in Medicare for all. And I believe that we should tax we'd higher taxes and more social programs. And it's the right thing to do is what it is. So when I say that Trump's losing, or you say that Trump's losing the affluent Empty nesters, they wouldn't have been around anyway.
Yeah, well, again, this is just the shifting in demographics. Trump is balancing out, because this is what American politics always does. For example, black people in the South used to vote Republicans. Like Nixon's share of the black vote was massive. And then it started to dwindle down. And it has escaped Republicans until now. Like Trump might get 20, 25% of the black vote, which in modern times is unheard of. And if there was no shift in other demographics, Trump would easily win. But I think because the last 2 election cycles were close, this will be close too. And that's that balance of party politics and party priority shifts, and they draw in new voters. And again, emotions, which is a big one, because the whole woke thing, it doesn't solve any problems. All it is an economy, and all it is social credibility. And many people want that social street cred. They want to wear that woke letter. They want to appear woke so that nobody talks bad about them. So people that have been manipulated because of shame and guilt, emotions, right? That's the key, in my opinion, is get people emotional. Because look at the Democrats' entire strategy. What are they trying to do? Make you emotional about Donald Trump. And they're trying to make you emotional about Kamala Harris, but not because of her policies, because of what she looks like. Because she's younger than Trump. And look at her. Oh, my goodness. They're trying to use emotions to get people to go vote rather than sound policies that are beneficial to people, especially if you're $200,000 income a year. It's almost like many of them have been guilted into thinking they make too much money, so they'd rather just give it to the government because they'll feel better about themselves, less guilty.
Did you see her walking into that little sham of a rally last night with Walz? Did you see that? Did you hear her intro? It was like, thank you. Something. And she just kept saying the same thing over and over and over again. Best meme I saw of the day this morning. Best there was. They were playing that. It says, when you just got high behind your uncle's truck and you walk into the family at Thanksgiving. Hell, it just keeps saying the same thing over and over again. Nope, I'm not high. I'm not high. Mm-hmm. All right, let's do it. Let's do it again. Thank you all for playing along. And there was some talk of some Brewmance merch up here as well, because apparently the Brewmance widget might be a thing.
Yeah, buddy. And Rhonda wants one of these old hats. We don't have any.
We don't have the old hats. We have the gray and the black. We have the gray and the black, but not floppy hats like that. Yeah, Rob worked the crap out of that one. Yep. And did you wash it? Is that why it looks like that?
I've just worn it so much. That's why this started. I mean, this hat's got to be what, 8, 9 years old?
Yeah. But I mean, that was our first brand. That was our first batch. Yeah, we have the Richardson hats. We'll talk about those. So we got hats. So we got to work on that stuff as well. All right, but yes, we will get back to you on that. We do have some hats we can chat about. But Rhonda, thank you, Grizz, everybody. You guys are Brendan. You guys are fantastic. Really love having you guys here. And again, like it, share it out, and we'll do this again tomorrow at noon right here on Russell and Hunters of the Brewmans. Have a great weekday. I almost said weekend. Have a great weekday, everyone.